everything just changed for the Toronto Blue Jays as we have multiple huge updates to go over today. And these updates have massive implications for this Toronto Blue Jays team. We have a huge update surrounding the Major League team, but also a scary and brutal update surrounding one particular pitcher in the minor leagues that is absolutely devastating. We'll break down exactly what that is, discuss what it means going forward, because not only is this update scary, it is brutal. Stay tuned for all that in this episode, as well as some interesting updates following yesterday's heartbreaking loss against the Tampa Bay Rays. But before we get into it, folks, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Jays content. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. We're getting close to 17,000 subscribers, and the Jays are playing a lot better baseball as of late. Despite losing yesterday's game, they are playing a lot better. Their offense is on a roll. Things are vibing right now, and your guys' support has been unbelievable. You guys have been beasts, so thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over today. Now, there are some brutal updates. Let's start with these. And obviously, you hate to bring these to light, but they have to be talked about today. And it is the unfortunate reality that Jake Bloss is to undergo right elbow surgery, the Jays' number 6 prospect, to repair his UCL. Now, we've had multiple videos on Jake Bloss, ranging from him getting called up, him breaking camp at a spring training, all these different things. He was finally starting to turn a corner down in AAA, and then he went out with an injury a week or so ago. And like I covered on the channel numerous times, they were waiting for, went to multiple doctors, waiting for a confirmed update, and that update has come to fruition. And unfortunately, he is going to undergo right elbow surgery. He's going to miss an extended period of time. As of the time of recording, the extent of the injury is unknown as it pertains to how long he's going to miss, but we're talking, months here, ladies and gentlemen, not weeks. Could miss the rest of the season. Not going to speculate too far on that, but looking at Jake Bloss, it has been a bit of a bumpy road since coming over from Houston. He was, of course, acquired in the Yusei Kikuchi trade along with Joey Loperfido and Will Wagner, and Jake Bloss, 0-5 for the Bisons with a 6.46 ERA. Now, on the surface, those numbers are really bad. And in a time where the Jays were desperate for starting pitching there for a little bit, he was unfortunately unable to kind of step up. But what matters most here is that for the last couple starts, he was playing really, really good baseball, and he was starting to finally turn a corner down there in AAA. And I covered on the channel when Ross Atkins had his little media availability press conference thing, a couple weeks ago before this injury. He was saying, hey, Jake Bloss is, he's on the outside looking in, but he could be one of the guys who we look to, the Jays that is, to step up and actually be a part of this major league roster, especially with all the injuries that have happened to Max Scherzer. And ultimately, because he got hurt, that opportunity was stripped away from him. And it's obviously now been given to guys like Eric Lauer, guys like Eason Lucas. But this is just devastating. And hopefully he'll be able to bounce back stronger than ever. There's been, maybe he was dealing with some sort of injury for a while. This could also be a new injury, whatever it ends up being. This is absolutely devastating. And it seemingly is at least cultivated in when he left his outing following, a week or so ago with the right forearm or right elbow, and it turned out to be right elbow discomfort. So it is very rough. And you can see this here, which is a little bit crazy. And again, for Shadavidi, the extent of the procedure and timing still to be decided. He added, the Jays' record of Tommy John with pitching prospects lately is just baffling. Since 2024, Jake Bloss, Ricky Tiedemann, Landon Morotis, Brandon Barriere, Nolan Perry, TJ Brock, Connor Cook, Chad Dallas, Carson Pierce. A lot of these guys were high-end prospects, organizational disaster. Now, the good news is a couple of these guys are on their road back, whether that be Ricky Tiedemann, Landon Morotis, Brandon Barriere. Like, these are recoverable, but man, oh man. And as we talk about the lack of pitching depth, there has to be, of course, a lot of it has to do with the fact that, this Jays team, they haven't had a lot of luck, bad luck. They've had bad luck with Tommy John surgery. Whether you want to, say it's a trainer's fault, whoever, I think it's just bad luck at this juncture. But again, it is brutal. A lot of their top prospects, obviously the one that hurts the most right now is Jake Bloss, because, and they all hurt equally. You never want to see players get injured, and, they're all equally, rough to miss time. But Jake Bloss was on the cusp of making the Major League team. Ricky Tiedemann was probably going to also make the Major League team. We think that Alek Manoah is going to be hopefully returning in August. There's a lot of reinforcements coming the Jays' way, which is something that's not talked about too much, in the form of Alek Manoah, Eric Swanson, Ryan Burr, Nick Sand, like all these guys. And the Jays are in the middle of a very good stretch of baseball despite losing yesterday's game. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. Just devastating news for Jake Bloss, and we wish him the best over here. But some other injury notes, we have a lot of them, but, to kind of put a cap on this one, it really does change everything for the outlook of this prospect system. They have to figure this out, because if they don't, again, figure out their pitching staff when it comes to depth, because they're going to run out of pitchers very, very soon. Now, on that note, Ryan Burr and Swanee are pitching in AAA tomorrow, which is today. Nick Sandlin was playing catch from 90 feet. Andres Gimenez starting baseball activity as well yesterday. So these were all updates late. This group of updates were late last night. So the good news is Ryan Burr and Swanson are probably going to be coming back sometime soon, and Nick Sandlin is still ramping up here. we're going to have to see a world where tons of moves are going to happen. And this is going to be very intriguing because they have guys like Mason Flaherty, who's been dominant. Now, their bullpen, on the other hand, I mean, Jeff Hoffman, it could be a story for another video, just very unfortunate as of late. Blew a game yesterday in which this Jays offense put up 9 runs and you lose a game. This team can never have good offense and good pitching in the same stretch of play. Winning 5 in a row would have been massive. That being said, a ton of AL East teams are losing, and you're at the point now where you just got to keep fighting. I love the fight they showed yesterday. They went down 11-7. They put up a 2 spot in the bottom of the ninth. They're still fighting. The team is playing well, and if you have backup coming in, you'll be in a very good spot. Now, I want to talk about what kind of changes everything here for the Major League roster, as Max Scherzer once again had a setback in his last bullpen session, didn't end up throwing today in Toronto. Timeline has changed a bit, but the Jays are hopeful he can throw again this week. So every single time he starts to, come to a cusp of pitching in the major leagues, he gets set back. And this is going to change the outlook and, change everything as it pertains to what the roster looks like as we go forward here. Because, I mean, trade deadline is not super close yet, but as it inches closer and closer, like, are the Jays going to go out and get a starting pitcher? Sneakily, Bound Francis hasn't been good this year, although he had a very good start in his last outing. How are these things going to matter if Max Scherzer cannot play baseball games? He's 40 years old after all. You have a very tough schedule coming up. I mean, it's a brutal one of the best. You could argue the best team in the AL in the Detroit Tigers. Had a crazy walk-off win yesterday from Javi Baez. You have the San Diego Padres, one of the best teams in the NL. It's going to be brutal, and you're going to need your pitchers to be locked in here, and especially the bullpen as well, like I mentioned, which reinforcements are coming. The offense, if it can continue to ride this high, you'll be in good shape. But man, oh man, there's so many moving pieces for this Toronto Blue Jays team right now that you're at a point where things need to start to steady out a little bit, whether that's Max Scherzer getting healthy, whether it's, some of their prospects, stepping up, some of their injured guys. And you think about yesterday's game, and, there's some takeaways here. These positives are going to have to carry into these next games. Dalton Varsho, we could have had I was going to have a post-game video last night. Of course, they gave up a grand slam in the top of the ninth. Dalton Varsho looks unbelievable. And if he can continue that, if Vladdy can continue getting some hits, Bo Bichette, all these, George Springer, Alejandro Kirk, and Santander's back as well. Didn't have a hit yesterday, but had some great ABs. This team is positioning themselves, if their offense continue to be a very good offensive team, which is surprising. If you need to get your pitching back, your bullpen back, some of your prospects going, get Max Scherzer in the mix, it's going to be good. But for now, this setback from Scherzer is not ideal. It is a little bit devastating. And 2 pieces of just devastating news today from the Blue Jays. So let me know down below what your thoughts are. Again, some people are high on Jake Bloss, some people lower. He was, the number 1 in the Jays prospect list, according to like Baseball America and things like that before the season started. Now he was kind of falling down. He's number 6. Trey Savage, on the other hand, is absolutely dominating. So hopefully he can stay healthy and he'll make an impact in this team sooner than later. Won't be this year, but it will be in years to come. And hopefully the Jays, ladies and gentlemen, can get things rocking, because 5 in a row would have been fantastic. A heartbreaking loss yesterday. But guess what? The good thing about baseball, on to tonight's game. Cheers.